so far. I'm not the only one. You got Senator Brady on the side. You got Mr. Travis on my right. Guess what? They all need money because election, I'm not the only one that needs your money. But all those guys I have here do the same thing you do for me. Support them while you can. But thank you for everybody that came forward. Election, a no vote is a vote for them. So if you register, you need to go vote. And I'm ready to canvass with you. If you have any thing you're doing, I will spare 1-2 hours with you on my own campaign to help push you guys, because it's not about myself, it's about collectivity. One of us is too many, is not enough. We need many of us to have a community. So no further ado, I will say thank you, and I'm going to pass the mic to Mr. Travis.
That's Representative Travis, District 41.
Good afternoon. I am State Representative Travaris McCurdy. I represent House District, what is currently 46, but since redistricting is District 41. I served as a legislative aide in the Florida Senate for 6 years prior to running for office in 2020, where I won unopposed. Born and raised in this district covers everything from I-4 going westbound to little portions of Ocoee. We have about 10 zip codes in this district, go over as far as Oak Ridge and Tangelo. There are 110,000 plus people in District 41. Serving as a legislative aide, majoring in political science at Florida A&M University. I'm prepared. I know this district, born and raised in this district, have served this district for almost close to a decade, between being an aide as well as a member for the past 2 years. Excited in my first 2 years to bring close to $4 million home to this district in projects. People talk about resources. Resources are more than just money. I served my entire first term during the global pandemic. The only member in the Central Florida delegation to have a 5-day-a-week PCR and vaccine opportunities for, because I have a high senior population in District 41. Food distributions galore. We've helped black private. We've helped the Paramore Kids get funding here to combat some of the issues that we see that plague our communities, right? But I'm also somebody in Tallahassee that's not afraid to stand to be vocal about the things that we need here and stop the attacks on marginalized people. When you talk about voting rights, attacks on education, attacks on women. So it's unfortunate to fight Tallahassee here and then have to come home and fight some of my residents, but I'm committed to that fight. The election's August 23rd. I ask for your support because as the incumbent, unless there's a fireable offense, there's no reason to not send me back to Tallahassee. So I'm looking forward to winning this race on August the 23rd and continue to serve in the residents of District 41.
Thank you, Representative Travis. We have Heather Joseph Pierre running for Commissioner, District 6.
Thank you, Voy. It is Heather Pierre Joseph. Can I be seen on the camera? No? Okay. I'm an activist. I'm not a politician, so I'm going to speak from my heart. I remember NAACP 1998 starting under the leadership on the national level of the late Julian Bond, having to see the first president being Rosalind Brock. I am filled with emotion. I remember being in the trenches where our only black elected official on the state level was Alzo Reddick. We didn't even have a person in the state Senate. And so from coming from that background and to see all these black people in here, I'm super excited. And the black woman outnumber the black man. Yay. So we're in the right direction. This is why I'm running, right? I'm running for Representation Matters. I am a Haitian American, of course. And I carry the stigma of that last name, Pierre Joseph, and I carry it proudly for the children. And I am so glad to see us all here. I'm elated. I've been in this community for over 20 years. I've raised my daughter, attended Orange County Public Schools. I have been a community activist. I've worked with the youth. I am running for those that don't have a voice, for those who come from low social economic groups like myself, who don't get the chance to lobby. It's all about lobbying. It's all about having access to your elected officials. So with Heather Pierre Joseph, you don't have to worry about having access to me. I've always been a field organizer working, and I'll continue to do so. You'll always hear from me the perspective of what's missing from the community. Second thing, how do we get results, right? I have a platform, I have the issues, but my issues aren't directed by me. My issues come from you. If someone sits up here and tells you, these are my 3 issues, hear me clearly. Those are their 3 issues. What I'm telling you with me is my issues are whatever I see affects the constituency, from traffic lights to no community centers to crime. District 6, for the last 20 years I have been here. We have not given District 6 their fair share. District 6, I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to anybody else in this room. District 6, they're voting. District 6, you have the power now. District 6, you are voting for your governor. Don't get bamboozled, District 6. Whatever you're asking me when I'm knocking on your doors, I expect you to be asking everyone from the governor to the mayor to everyone running for office. My name is Heather Pierre Joseph. I represent you. You don't have to worry. You see me knocking on your doors, I am your voice. Thank you.
That was powerful. Y'all need to pay attention. Y'all need to pay attention. Hi, my name is Dominique Douglas. I am running for House of Representatives for District 38. That is South Seminole County. Let me break that down. That's Altamont Springs, Castleberry, Fern Park, Winter Springs, and a little bit of Longwood, the part that Rod don't have. I got late, and everybody always did it into the race at all. I learned what it is to talk to a brick wall. I lost family in that Buffalo shooting. I was born in Buffalo, New York. And so we all got a chance to go up there and go to the funerals of some of the other families. Point, we got to talk to the vice president, to Madam Vice President. We got to talk to the president. We got to talk to Senate and the House of Representatives, and I really found out what it is to talk to a brick wall, right? I was originally born to, unfortunately, victims of the crack epidemic. So I was put into foster care, me and my 5 siblings. We were fortunately adopted while I was at 13. We moved to Florida. I ended up going to Rankont college and getting a master's degree, and I'm currently at FAMU down here in law school in Orlando. So I have some context, right? I was amazed that we vote for these people, actually get elected with all these promises, and they pat me on the back, and they literally pick up babies and take pictures with them. And then they never respond to the emails you give them. They never answer a question, right? I live in Altamont Springs. I rent, right? So I have to deal with my landlord having any power he wants. I had to leave my last apartment because they upped the rent $250. Let me tell you, my paycheck did not get up $250. Fortunately, I worked at a deal with my current landlord, and I help him renew his work visa. He doesn't raise my rent more than $25. See, that's community, though. That's an agreement with someone, and that's realistic. New York has a cap, 10%, right? You can't raise the rent more than 10% every year. Reasonable, right? I have a 9-year-old daughter. She is amazing. She is going into 4th grade. I have to deal with the fact that she's limited in the history that she's allowed to learn. She's limited in what and how she's allowed to learn. I have 4 goddaughters. Eventually, we had to put them all into private school because public school is not serving everyone's purpose. It's teaching monkeys how to climb trees. But when your kid is a fish, they fail. Right? When your kid doesn't have English as their first language, they fail. When your kid is a divergent learner, they fail. They're not learning what they should be learning. Minority groups have the highest rate of financial debt after they graduate. Why are we not learning financial literacy as a primary instead of learning FCAT? We shouldn't be focusing on these test scores. We should be preparing our kids to graduate. right? In New York, you learn something similar to what I call skills to pay the bills, right? I had to learn wood shop before I could graduate. I had to learn home ec before I could graduate. I had to learn actual skills. They had the ability to learn how to fix air conditioners, random things that you can make money out of right out of high school, because everyone doesn't need to go to college. It's really just a trick now to suck up debt, right? Law school, you have to go to college, but for many things you don't, and we're not preparing them for that. We're not teaching them the way to make more money, not to just be a worker 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck. And the ones who go to college, right? They need to be taught how to finance that system without going into debt and owing double what you borrowed while you were in school. See, no one taught me that you should be paying the interest while you're in college. There are basic things that help us to do better and to be better. We're supposed to be active members of the economy, and we're failing us all, right? One of the reasons that you get elected is because they're applying, the same issues are applying to you and your community. The same issues that I'm talking about are the same ones that apply to everyone in my community. The same issues that apply to me having to figure out how to pay for the rising cost of childcare and still go to school and still pay bills with my rising rent. These are issues that affect everyone in my community. But more than that, I listen. I know it sounds like I talk a lot, but I also shut up and I listen. Because it's not just my problems, right? There are problems going on with a lot of people who have a lot to say that don't apply to me at all. I listen, right? Not just talk, listen. So I'll be the voice. I'll speak up. And when I get elected, the rules won't change for me. I won't be a brick wall. I'll be open. I'll be able to communicate with. You'll always be able to communicate with me. I love talking, trust me. Let's get the right people in office. You're looking at them. All you got to do is vote. I know that's not our favorite thing to do because, you know, we got to grow up, right? We do the same thing. You can't keep doing the same thing. It's literally the definition of crazy, right? You want something new, you got to do something new. What was your name? Dominique Douglas. You better get to my website and donate some money, right? www.dominique, that's DOMINIQUE, number 4, FL.com, right? District 38, South Seminole County. Donate at least 38. You should be donating more.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shaniqua Sharon Rose, and I'm running for District 41, which is everything west of I-4, everything south of Colonial, down to Sand Lake, Ocoee, Windermere, Metro West. And I say I will not be specific because then you miss out a community and someone gets upset. I'm running because it's time for us to start building bridges to close the gaps. We keep electing individuals that tell you, they give a resume, but they're not giving you a community advocate and a community activist resume. What were they doing before they ran for office? What were they doing where they're not representing and they're not sitting at a podium? That's what's important. I am a third-generation immigrant. My family is from the Caribbean island of St. Lucia, and so I've seen COVID showed us where the immigrant population took care of the state of Florida and this country while a lot of people were home. They're not protected. There are a lot of individuals that I get it and say that there's limitations, but if you've never tried, then you're not serving the people. And that's what's the most important, that we start electing individuals who are community advocates. I'm former NAACP secretary. I sit on the League of Women Voters as the former treasurer. I sit on a lot of organizations and I participate to ensure that we get the work done. I'm building bridges to close the gaps, and there are a lot of gaps. Here in Central Florida, in the Orlando, West Orlando area where I'm running for, and yes, I got in late, because there were issues. And I sat back and I said, well, you know, call and let's find out how we can work these issues out. Call and figure out how to fix it. We couldn't get it fixed. To me, that's a problem. During COVID last year, I was able to subcontract with the state of Florida, and we were able to vaccinate people in their homes, in churches, in their businesses. And for me, my most memorable vaccination event was at a nightclub. I was able to partner with them, and we had people coming in, and they actually came to a nightclub, a place that they're familiar with. We have to start meeting people where they're at. We can't say, oh, I'm sitting in the office, come meet me at my office, call my assistant. No, you have to have people that are active. I live in the Paramore community. We haven't gotten appropriations for a lot of the issues. We haven't had elected officials stand up for the gun violence. Our kids are killing each other. Our kids are killing their parents. Our kids are killing people. We had a 10-year-old that picked up a gun and shot and killed someone. We had days after that, we had a 2-year-old that killed their father by picking up a gun. We have to get leadership that lives here, that actually cares. I live in the Paramore community. So the Uvalde shooting happened on the Tuesday. The Wednesday, I woke up 2 streets from my house, 2 people got shot. This is a reoccurring issue. Gun violence is bigger than just what we see on TV. It's hitting our communities, and we're not fighting for it. We're not doing things to say, how do we get our children actively involved? Dominique is right. We don't have that in our region where we have home ec and where we tell our kids, here's actual jobs, $15,000, $60,000. They're called trades. Teaching our children. As a legislator, I want to make Education Month. And that's what I want to propose, so that we can start Career Month, so that we can start bringing careers in and different activities to come in, different organizations, so our children can get a wider range of what's to come outside of school. I was a homeless teenager because I graduated early and I didn't know how to do finances. I didn't know what it was to balance a book. What's that? What do you mean? You mean I can't eat McDonald's every day? I mean, I live on my own. We have to start teaching our young people responsibility while they're in school, while we have them. And it doesn't start when they're in high school, because financial literacy just passed in high school. It starts when they're kids. These kids don't know, they're not even doing cursive anymore. So it is about our children. I'm building bridges to close the gaps. There are organizations. I've been endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. It's time for us to build bridges and close the gaps. That is a big thing that's in our community. We have to work together with all, when something happens, who you call? 911. We have to build bridges in our community. We can't sit down and say, well, we don't like them, we're gonna stay over here. We don't know. How do we work with everyone? Doesn't matter what their race are, doesn't matter what their political affiliation is, doesn't matter what their age. We have to work together for the greater good. Everybody, no matter how rich or poor, the one thing is success that we all want. We want to be able to get up, and whatever that success looks like, as your next state representative for District 41, I want to bring that to you. My name is Shaniqua Shan Rose. Our website is www.voteforshan.com. Ballots are already out. Start voting. Don't wait till the 23rd. Get out. August 8th is the early voting starts. Find out where your precincts are. OCFLelections.com. Go find out where your polling place. Go find out where your precinct is. If you vote by mail, make sure it's secure. Make sure you know everybody. There's judges on the ballot. It's not just about, yes, I am running and I want your vote, but it's also judges. Think about a cousin, a family, a friend who's been over sentenced or has been over bonded, that you felt that we need better judges. There are a lot of people that are on our ballot, and you have to get out to vote. Again, Shan Rose, running for District 41.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Myers, and I'm candidate for State Representative District 40. District 40 encompasses Ocoee, Pine Hills, Lockhart, and College Park. My campaign message is, let's put our passion into action. We have a habit as a community of talking about our frustrations behind closed doors, but we don't do anything about it. It's time to put forth action and do the work in our communities. What we need to, as voters, what we need to pay attention to, we need to pay attention to these candidates. A lot of these candidates will have the habit of saying, this is what I will do when I get into office. But this is a question I want you to ask. What have you done? It does not take a political title to do the work in our communities. You do the work in our communities because you have a passion and you have the love to take care of people in our communities. When you see my track record, you will see the work that I've done in our communities. I fought for the Ocoee firefighters. I stood up when it comes down to mental health resources in our communities. I spoke up before the commission meetings when it comes down to the safety for individuals in our communities. I'm championing for career development programs because not every high school student is college bound. I'm championing for more mental health resources because just because you have a mental health episode, that does not mean that you should be gunned down by police officers. I champion for standing up against elected officials who aren't doing their job. I champion for our youth. I champion for our forgotten seniors. And what we need to do, we need to ensure that we need to get out and vote. I know you sit and say that your vote does not matter, but guess what? It does. Because if it didn't matter, why are they passing so many laws to make it more difficult for us to vote? I need you to think about it, okay? So with that, yes, you got me laughing. So anywho, I need you to visit my website, www.votemelissamyers.com. You will see the work that I have done in our communities. Stop electing people who have know what to say to invoke the emotions of the voters. I need you to check the track record of these candidates and make sure that they're going to do the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Listen up, because all the studio's not working, so I'm going to have all the candidates see, because some people want to take the question online, and also this is a live feed, okay? So you'll have an opportunity to look at it on your live feed also. It's gonna be live, so I'm just waiting for the cameraman to give me the okay so I can switch you guys.
1 second.
Okay, so when she just sit down tight. Sit down tight. So once you give me the okay, so I'm gonna have you guys, I'm gonna rearrange this and have all the candidates, and you're gonna have some of the audience, some of the journalists taking some questions, okay? I'm just waiting.
Question number 1.
Okay?
Should we slide down so we're evenly?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But let me arrange this real quick. Put this right your way. Sorry about that. Oh, go ahead, Wade, grab a chair because all you're gonna be on this side.
Okay. Slide in 1, 2, 3.
Slide.
Rob, can you give me my water, please? I'm just so dry. First of all,
Or not, would you touch it from here?
Wait, all of you.
All right. We have like.
Do you want us to switch out to smaller chairs?
Would that be better?
Yeah, that'd be better if we had smaller chairs. Yeah.
Hey, what can we do with our women in the house? They have thoughts, the good idea. Helen, for Commissioner.
Orange County District 6.
Early. All right, and my friend,
3 chairs, please.
I'm gonna give her another 30 minutes. Because they love you the last time.
The last time.
You didn't tell her anything.
I know.
That's something.
No, that's my. Give me that.
We need one more chair right here
Wait under the seat.
for Randy. Bracy.
Bracy,
You want to move that
he had an
block first?
emergency, he had to go real quick.
So that's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Why did that shit like that?
Well,
You said you want to sit on first.
Come on that side, man.
all right.
Boy, I want to meet the front. No, you sit right here, buddy. Hold on a second.
Slide down, please.
Good? I'm sorry. How's the angle? Oh, yeah, I got this one. You got this one?
You're missing a chair boy that I said after Bracy.
He has to leave for a minute. Okay?
Well, I think they may need water.
I'm sorry.
Get a room temperature water, please.
Room temperature
Yes,
water.
thank you.
You like me, I don't drink cold water either.
Just to raise your body temperature from down on the front.
Again, we live. Okay, anybody else in ward? Sure. Okay.
Reading the big. Question in the country. Big test.
Kandida, once again, you have to sit down, brother.
Take my seat. Which one here?
Okay, you sit right here.
Voy. One more.
Please sit down. Excellent.
I want to get the bed too. So don't forget to be here. First, meet the candidate before primary. Don't forget the primary will be the Wednesday. General election, November 8th at the live on Monday. We take over from sorry.
Yes.
Backup chairs.
Back up? Okay.
Say who my name?
Yeah, that's me. Why?
Trouble.
I am a host here at Thai Temple. The name of my show is Cafe Ahmed. Cafe Ahmed is basically bitter coffee. It's a staple occasion for like surprises, things that happen, everything that's supposed to make you feel bad. You know, every time something happens, like you have a death in your family, somebody will go make some coffee, bitter coffee. You know, it's like a tea, hot tea. You know. So my first question for everybody in the panel: what experiences qualify you to represent the citizen living in your districts?
What experiences? I have lived experiences. I'm a young black man in this district. Do I need it? When you talk about experiences, my predecessor who represented the district live in this district. So that's very important that you understand the residents, you understand the issues, you understand your district. I know my entire district. I said earlier I have close to 10 zip codes, but what experiences do you need aside from loving the place that you're from? We tell children all the time to grow up, go to school, do your work, don't get in trouble, and come back and try to make your community better. So we have an opportunity to support one of those children. and I'm the product and the promise of District 41. So that's what uniquely qualifies me, and that's what the experience is for me to represent this district.
I would say my answer is very close to Rep. McCurdy. I am born and raised here right in Orange County, and I know my communities very well, and I have been the boots on the ground advocating for individuals in my community. You know, experience does not start when you are elected into office. Experience starts when you are already doing the work and advocating for individuals in your community well before you even think about politics. My experience come from, like I said, advocating and fighting and pushing and protesting, you know, for the issues that's going on in our communities. So that is my experience in our communities. I've been here, born and raised, actively doing the work in our community, pushing for various initiatives, being unapologetic when it comes down to speaking up for others whose voices have not been heard.
Heather Pierre-Joseph, Orange County Commission, District 6. My experience, where do we begin? District 6, 30% live in poverty. We're a very diverse community, immigrants, about approximately 27% on Medicaid, meaning we're not even counting the amount of the uninsured, the undocumented. Heather Pierre-Joseph came over here on a boat at 4 years old, undocumented, spent 16 years in this country, undocumented. Raised my child in this country, woke up to be a person with disabilities. Disability community, I hear you. Being in foster care, raising the children, I know. District 6 composes of the people, like we said, our service worker. I've been cleaning ever since I was 8 years old. What makes me this? Not only this, from the time that I was naturalized, 1994 is the first year I was legal in this country. 1998, I have been walking. I have been protesting in Miami. I have been protesting on the Florida State Capitol, Jeb Bush Initiative 1. I have not stopped. I have been working in Destin, Florida for the migrant workers that we give permanent visas to and never permanent citizenships or permanent status. I have been working. I am this community. I am those that, and I share these because I have so-called arrived, right? But I'm not embarrassed. So I'm telling you right now, all the stigma, no parents, you name it, child abuse survivor, you name it, I've been there, but you can conquer. I see what these kids are going through day to day in our schools. I see what a leader should be doing. I am a born leader, but now in order to make more effective change, I'm asking for your vote and your support. I am experienced, and I'm asking you to support me for Orange County Commission District 6. Heather Pierre-Joseph, thank you.
Listen to him. Hello, my name is Dominique Douglas. I am running for... That counted for all of them beforehand, too. Hi, my name is Dominique Douglas. I am running for House of Representatives for District 38. That is South Seminole County. Let's break that down. Altamont Springs, Castleberry, Fern Park, Winter Springs, and a little bit of Longwood, the part that Rod doesn't have. Why am I qualified to do this? Because I'm not. Because I live the life of my community every single day. Because I hear the complaints, but I've lived both sides, right? I have lived in foster care. My family, my biological parents were victims of the crack epidemic. And I say victims because that's what they were. Fortunately, I had the blessing to be adopted by the time I was 13. My father, a police officer, my mother working in mental health. I ended up moving to Florida. I got to see what it was like. I got to see the major differences between going to inner city schools and going to school in the suburbs. Fast forward, I moved to Florida. And I made sure I wasn't a statistic. I graduated with my bachelor's from Rollins College. I'm currently a law student at FAMU. But I'm also a part of a community that is constantly plagued with the same battles. I recently went to Buffalo, New York. A family member was killed in that Tops Buffalo massacre. A lot of legislators like to pretend like there's so much that they care about and they're going to really help you with. You know, I got to talk to the Madam Vice President. I got to talk to Senate, House of Representatives. And even though you have logical things to say, right? There's always a middle ground, by the way. Everyone wants to talk about the extremes on both sides, when there's a reality that there is a middle ground. There really is ways to come to a compromise, but no one cares to see that. And so I come back and I say, you know what? I don't really believe in anybody that's running. I don't really believe that the people who we're going to elect to represent us, the ones who are living this problem, the problems every day, right? I know what it is for the business owners. Both of my brothers own businesses. My sister does, my brother-in-law does. I know the complaints that they have and the way that the economy going up and down affects them. I'm also a single mom to an amazing 9th grader. I understand how difficult it is, the hypocrisy between you need to be able to go to school and better yourself so you're not dependent on government assistance, but the rising cost of childcare is not regulated. So I'd have to work 2 jobs just to be able to pay for myself to go to school and take care of my kid. It's really set up to make you stay in the same place, because the people who are elected, that's not their problem. They don't have these financial problems. But at the same time, you have to be willing and able to hear the other side, right? Representatives also have to listen. I know how I feel about the issues. I know how my neighbors feel about the issues. I know I'm a renter, and I'm at the mercy of my landlord every single time my lease ends, because there is no law in Florida, but there is a law protecting homeowners, right? They're at a 3.5% limit every time their home gets reassessed for their value. There is a limit to protect homeowners, so they're not having any ridiculous rates every time their home gets reappraised. They're protected, but the landlord has no limitations on how much they can raise rent. Really, this is benefiting certain people over others. I live in Altamont Springs. There are about, on average, 8,000 homeowners and 11,000 renters. They can do whatever they want, and we're all victim, and we all have to sacrifice to that, right? One of the ways to make sure your representatives get into office and listen is because they're a part of the community and they're dealing with the same problems every day. I have to worry about the education system because I'm a parent. I have to worry about the same issues because I'm in the community dealing with the same issues every day. But I also understand that there's a whole nother side to this, and you have to be able to be in the middle, right? It can't just be extremes all the time. You have to be able to listen. I have seen both sides of how the economy and how America's decisions are affecting more than just one side of things. We need to listen to more than one person. We need a change is what we need. We need new perspectives. We need new vision. We need our representatives to look different now. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Make a change. Get to Dominique, get to my website, www.dominique, DOMINIQUE4FL.com. Let's donate, right? District 38, minimum of $38. You should be donating more. We need a change, and it's going to take some money because the other side, they're backed. They got backings by endorsements and lobbyists. They got the money because they want to keep the status quo. They don't want changes. They want your life to look like it's always looked. We need changes, right? And we're going to demand it, but we need the support.
Do me a favor, try to keep your response about 60 seconds. One other thing about running for office, something I learned about 20 years ago. Once you go over 2 minutes, you lost the audience. So try to keep, and if you see how that works, look at Representative Travis here, Traveris here, and he keep it under that 60 second because he don't want to lose the audience. And one thing, when you out there speaking, stick with the issue. There's time from the beginning where you can tell stories, but especially when you have if you guys go onto your page right now, it's on iMedia. This is where this is at. I sent it to all of you guys. There's an iMedia. Somebody's watching you. When they see you go over that 60-second threshold, guess what? You lost it. So just a little bit of advice, okay?
Can I add one more thing like voices? My name is Jerry Kidley from Radio Kandida. So always stick with the best, your best conclusion from the beginning to the end. The most important statement for you from the beginning to the end. You start with it, you finish with it. Don't forget anything.
I am, look, you want to repeat the question? You look like.
What experience qualify you to represent the citizens who live in your district?
Shaniqua Shan Rose, I'm running for House District 41. I am a mother, a mentor, and community advocate. I'm building bridges to close the gaps. I'm a business owner. I've created a lot of policy and safety in this community, and our children are number one because they are the future, and everything that we do is for them. I've created places, we've got speed bumps to slow down traffic, we've got crossing guards to increase safety. I'll continue that work with increasing safety. We have an issue with economics, and economics equal crime in most communities, so we have to work with that. With Central Florida having a high immigrant population, I'm a third-generation immigrant, so I know what it is to disparities, and we have to work together. We have to get legislative for the Central Florida region that's going to represent, and it's going to say, what does that look like? That looks like making sure we have proper interpretations, ensuring that the municipal governments have interpreters. They have someone that speaks the different dialects. Where we can, what's the most popular dialect within the region? We do the census, so we know what the dialects are. Saying, hey, and highly encouraging, hey, can you make sure that there's translators available? We have to become a more diverse community, and so I will work hard as ever for District 41 to build bridges and close the gaps, to be a voice for the voiceless. I am Shaniqua Shan Rose, running for District 41. www.voteforshan.com.
What qualify me to run or any of this? I don't think qualifications, experience, these two things different. Yes. So experience doesn't, you can qualify, you doesn't have experience. You can have many experience, you're not qualified. So I come from both of the world. I got experience and I'm qualified. And I'm always been part of this community, always been fighting for the community, always been a voice for the voiceless. And I'm gonna continue to do that on a bigger spectrum where the voice of the voiceless can be heard outside the jaw of the local community. So I am the cancer for the system. I'm coming in to affect that system from the inside out to make sure my people, my community represent. And that's where my experience coming from infiltrate that system from in out. So we can grow like a fruit, figure fruit for Haitian people. We come in as a small grain, but we took over from the inside so we can make change that suiting our community and our district.
Oh, wow. Another question I have for every single one of you. What would be your top 3 priorities if elected?
Well, my top 3 priorities, of course, housing is an issue, but it's very important that people listening right now understand the levels of government and the offices that individuals are asking you to vote for them for. You need to make sure that these individuals understand the roles that they're seeking, and not because they say that they care about you or care about the community, because you're going to get a false sense of hope. And you're going to get false expectations when they can't deliver on the things because it's not in their jurisdiction based on the offices that they're running for. So housing is absolutely important. We talk about the Sadowski Housing Fund in Tallahassee. We just created a threshold, a floor, because it's been historically rated for the past decade. Over the past decade, it's been rated and not used for its original intent to assist local governments and municipalities to be offer homeowners, first-time homeowners down payment assistance for residents because it's been rated, it's been swept. So we need to protect the Sadowski Housing Fund. Of course, our education system. We do have financial literacy that just passed this past legislative session that will be taught to high school students in the state of Florida. Education is important. We're moving away from the state standardized testing, and we'll go to progress monitoring. What does that look like? We need to make sure that we have experts at the table, not just elected officials. We need teachers, we need support staff, we need students at the table to talk about what this progress monitoring will look like. My 3rd priority is protecting voting rights. I staged a protest on the House. Democrats not afraid to stand up to this Republican government, this Republican leadership, because federal level by 50%. And people talk to you about resources every day. They have no idea how this system works. When House District 41 has the lowest and hardest to count in the U.S. Census, we naturally get the least amount of resources on the federal level. So now you're talking representation and our voice on the federal level, where we're supposed to get this money from. We already see the appetite of the state is not to fully and adequately fund these programs that we see. Protecting voting rights is absolutely top of mind for me. Y'all can clap too.
So I've actually already started writing my 90-day plan for when I get into office. I have 3 bills that I've already started on. The first bill is career development. We need more funding for our high school students, our high school graduates, because not every high school student is college bound. So we need to provide more funding. You know, for trade programs, what's really important is the fact that people don't realize my background is 20 years of HR and recruiting. Okay, I own my own staffing agency. Okay, we have a lot of industries that's retiring out, but we don't have enough individuals to replace them. We have been pushing college, which is nothing wrong with college, but we have been pushing college for the past 20, 30 years, but yet, you know, we don't have enough people to repair ACs or to do plumbing or to be mechanics and things like that, and those trades are very important, so we need to push more funding towards those trade programs. A senior task force, our seniors are forgotten. Our seniors are not being taken care of. There is no reason why a senior that's on a fixed income is struggling for food. There is no reason why a senior has a lien on their home because they participated in a city-funded program to repair their homes. You know, there should be more strenuous or more stricter consequences for individuals who try to defraud seniors. So I want to create a senior task force. My third bill that I'm working on is the bill for affordable housing. I get a call once a week from a single parent saying, my house has been sold. I have 45 days to move out. I don't know where I can go. I can't afford the housing right now. It costs at least $2,000 a month for a home in Pine Hills. That's ridiculous. We need to push more funding for affordable housing. So with that, you know, we have a lot of elected officials that only come out when they need your vote. But yet you don't hear from them while they're in office. So we need to be aware and we need to pay attention, because guess what? They know what to say to get them in office. But at the end of the day, where have you been? And that's the question we need to ask.
Okay. The 3 things that I'm going to focus on, because I've heard you when you've spoken. We've talked about affordable housing. Also, it's really called sustainable housing. People don't like the concept of affordable housing. For me, with over 19 years of professional real estate experience, sustainable housing looks like this. We need to start creating homes where 30% of your income goes to your living allowance. Som de yo de sustainable housing. Sustainable housing dit kon sa 30% de sa ou fait faut payer pour rent. So m'a travaille sous ça. Après ça, m'gain plus que 20 ans, m'a travaille comme si son real estate professional. Deuxième bail m'a focus sur, m'a tande nous écouter. Tim y a commencé l'école en août 10. Parents yo dit kon sa nous besoin l'école yo sécurité on the perimeter. The second thing we're going to focus on, because I've listened to the constituency, we're going to focus on school security, securing the perimeters of our schools. Our airports are not soft targets. Our federal buildings are not soft targets. Why are we going to allow our children, parents, I've heard you loud and clear that you're afraid. We need to secure the perimeter of our schools. The third thing that I'm going to work on is small business. We have a lot of small businesses in the District 6. There is money being built, billions of dollars. How is that money being transferred to our small emerging businesses? Troisième thing, ma focus sur lui, c'est pour business yo. Nous gen pile ko billion dollars in Orlando ka passe, mais kote kob la ka vini pour community in District 6. Those are the 3 things that I'll be focusing on. My name is Heather Pierre Joseph.
You know, you can't pick and choose who you clap for. Hello, hello. I am Dominique Douglas. I am running for House of Representatives. We know this. What top 3? I would say affordable housing, as she said, but more so affordable housing, not just regulating the rent increases, right? Not just saying that there has to be a percentage regulation that private and public, apartment complexes can raise the rent, and that needs to coincide to a degree with how much our pay is getting raised, right? There has to be some sort of connection. There has to be some sort of protection like the homeowners get with how much their tax increases get to be on their property, right? Altamont Springs is actually one of the best cities for house study. They're one of the only cities that has no debt. They're really, really strict about their finances. One of the best for property taxes for homeowners. Yet, my landlord can up my rent $250 just because they want to, even though it's not costing them much more for the upkeep of their homes, right? But it's more than just regulating the rent. There are other states that offer homes that can come in, tiny homes or remade homes, right? Smaller homes, manufactured homes. If we had access to rezoning that allowed these homes to be built closer to public transportation, the rent for those houses could be $350 or less. There are other options, but the regulations are so tight with zoning, basic places that could have residential housing can't. But who gets to choose the zoning, right? Another issue that I would really tackle, because I am a parent who has a 9-year-old in public school, is our public education system. It really needs to be restructured altogether. The governor has no business regulating how much a teacher can make when they first start teaching. They have no business saying that a veteran teacher who probably is mentoring and teaching that new teacher is allowed to make at least only 20% more than that new teacher who came in. So if I want to give a veteran teacher a raise, 75% of that has to also go to new teachers. Who can afford that? The governor can promote that we're going to have new books, but doesn't promote that has to get paid by the districts. And there's two funds, right? There's the general fund and the categorical fund, and that's coming out of the general fund. So is it we're paying for nurses or we're paying for new books, right? There's so many details, and depending on the school and the district and what that school needs, the principals, the ones I like to blame, or the districts, the other ones I like to blame, they actually don't have that much power. How is that possible? The wrong people have the power is the problem, and that really does require a lot of restructuring of those funds and the allocation of those funds depending on the school and the area and what those districts really need. And the third thing I would really look at is gun control. From a victim of the Buffalo Tops massacre and having to go and deal with very basic common sense things, right? I say that I have no issues with the Second Amendment, right? I'm currently a law student. I love the Constitution. We got some issues like still being considered 3/4 of a person. But for the most part, I really do believe in our Second Amendment rights, right? Our right to protect our person, our property, and our families. Nowhere in there did it say that we were obligated to have certain types of guns, right? And if that's what we're going to need, then there should be some stipulations to military-grade weapons. Common sense things, like you want your guns, fine. You have to have insurance on them. Insurance companies don't like to pay things out, so they will make sure that the proper background checks have been done, more than the gun sellers and more than is currently mandated. Right? I think that's very simple. It's not regulating everything, but it is regulating some things, including locking up your guns, right? There has to be more regulations on things, right? People love to say, guns don't kill people, people kill people, right? So we're regulating the people, right? We're not regulating the guns, we're regulating the people and the people's access to those guns. More than just mental health, we need to really push for our red flag laws. Out of 11,000 or so police districts in the state of Florida, I believe only 453 are even registered to report red flag laws, specifically hate crimes, right? And it goes through most police departments, so it's a little biased, right? And of those 453, only 53 of them has actually reported hate crimes. Right, so 111, Florida is showing that our hate crimes are going down over the last 3 years. About 100 reported hate crimes, whereas New York and Texas, comparable states, have closer to 500 reported hate crimes, right? So how strict are these regulations? Who's fighting for these things? And if we're going to smudge all the data, then we're going to have more excuses why not to really push for the regulations and why it needs to be regulated, right? There has to be better people, and there has to be people who have a reason and incentive to really push these issues with legislation. Dominique Douglas, donate.
Shan Rose. My top 3 issues are economic development, education, and safer communities. Education, I'm going to put it at the front, and then I'll explain why the other 2 go together. Everything is about educating, whether you're educating children or you're educating people that are re-entering into society, whether it's from the prison or it's from someone who's been homeless and getting back on their feet. So you have to educate people, give them access to it. We have to increase our teacher pay. Everything we do is about our children and the future. And if they don't have access to a great education and equitable education, then we have no tomorrow. We have no future. Economic development and safer communities go hand in hand, and economic development covers affordable housing, but it also covers the businesses. Without a business, you don't have economics to be able to live anywhere, to be able to purchase anything, to be able to function. And once we expand our economic development, which includes educating people on the different types of employment opportunities, then we create safer communities, which include our streets, our sidewalks, our making sure we have funding for lights. There's infrastructure money that's coming from the White House. We have to ensure that we get some of that money here. Everyone wants to be able to get up and say, when I walk inside of my door, once I walk inside of my home, I feel safe inside of my home. If I walk outside, I feel safe. As a victim of gun violence, my husband was murdered here in Central Florida almost 11 years ago. And I know what it is to have gun reform, not just gun control, but reform. What does that look like? Mental health illness. What does that look like? Ensuring that, for me as a legislator, I want to strengthen our bullying process. When we look at the Uvalde shooting, he was bullied. So he used that as a reason. So as legislator, I want to make our bullying process stronger. So I want to ensure that we're enforcing counseling and opportunities for both the person being bullied as well as the person doing the bullying, so that they get access. Why? What made you do it? And let's provide the resources that they need. So again, economic development, education, and safer communities are what I want to do in District 41, Shan Rose.
Okay, man. Bon, definitely, again, what Joseph, my 3 top priority would be immigration reforms, increase minimum wages, and diversity in government. Immigration reform, I'm the result of the immigration, of the positive side of immigration. So I came here, young age, grow up here, get involved in the system, serving this country, represent this country as the highest level, and continue to serve my community representing. When I talk to diversity in government, we need more people like us. Gentlemen, please. We need more diversity in government, where people like me, like those beautiful women here, can have a voice, not people dictate to them what they can do and should do to their bodies, and also what good for the woman as a male. So I will never know what's work for a female as a man. So we need diversity, and we need to give women more voice, not like we see it as political tools. Since 1920, after they passed the law to count women, we still marginalize them as next to us. It's never an equal ground. I want to fight to make sure that we equal on all grounds, because that's a must for our society. Last thing is increase minimum wage, because rent go high, gas price go high, food go high, and the paycheck on diet. So that's something we need to make sure we account with proper long-term training for workers too, so they can maintain and grow with their job and their progression. Ça veut dire pour la communauté haïtienne, c'est immigration, diversité dans le gouvernement, et puis ensemble avec augmentation de salaire. Merci beaucoup.
Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I actually had a lot of questions, but since Shaniqua is about to leave, did I pronounce your name right? All right. Shaniqua, I had the pleasure of listening to you at the Titusville Chambers, the Women Chambers. Yes, in Titusville, Edenville. Sorry, yeah, yes. The last question I have is for everybody again, and it's about the budget. We know there's a lot of people come in and they make a lot of promises to us, and they never follow through. I would like to know from you guys, what part of the county budget should be shielded from cuts? Because we have a lot of cuts every year, and the cuts are mostly education, things that are very, very important, and immigrants. We have a lot of undocumented immigrants. We have low housings. We don't have affordable housing. What are we doing to actually help with that situation? 2 questions in one part, but she has to go at 3:30. Let's her answer first.
We can't cut. So on the state level, we have to protect our affordable housing, and our education are the most important part. But within that is healthcare. So I am a strong proponent of pro-choice and a woman's right to choose. But with that, and it's coming, like slowly, the Republicans are taking away access. But if you're going to take away access, make sure that there's health care. I lost someone to cancer earlier this year, and it was because she didn't have insurance. And so that she got the runaround. She couldn't get the proper treatment. And that's how America goes. I lost my 3.5-year-old son. We had Medicaid. And I feel like that was a big thing, and that was a big cause why they prolonged him getting proper treatment, him getting surgery. And one day his body could no longer take, he had a health condition. His body could no longer take it, and he passed away. So when we talk about healthcare, like healthcare has to be important. We have to ensure that there's funding for it. And there's a lot of different categories. So those 3 areas are most important. We have to ensure housing, education, as well as healthcare are kept, and we're not reducing the budget.
Do you need to go? Okay. Hello. So, absolutely education. Unfortunately, that is regulated by the federal government to the extent that the districts have very little power. I know a lot of people who are on the Seminole County Education Board, and they say that some days they don't even know why it exists because they have absolutely no power. It's very common sense things that that the kids need, that the board knows they need, and they have no power to rectify it. So the budget cuts come, and I find out that nurses have to travel. There's 5 schools, and they don't have enough money, so one nurse has to go between those 5 schools. One school gets her on Monday, one gets her on Tuesday, Thursday, another one gets her on Wednesday, and they have to rotate the nurses. Some schools flat out don't have therapists. Schools that ought to really have therapists to prevent those students from coming back, like possibly the Uvalde students, or students who literally just get bullied. In the state of Florida, if you get bullied, you can just transfer to another school. And in a lot of schools, the IEPs say that you can't punish bullies, right? They get to stay there and continue bullying, and no one has to address it because those schools don't have therapists. They're making the student who got bullied honestly punished because, yeah, they have the privilege of getting to have a psychological transfer to another school. You're making them go to another school, start all over again, get to have to meet new people again. All because there's not enough money to really handle the problems that are existing in the schools right now. There needs to be a regulation on how much the budgets can be cut in the education world, period. Secondly, in healthcare, she's absolutely right. And it's healthcare with those on Medicaid, it's healthcare for the veterans, it's healthcare all the way around, right? I started school and I had to switch to Medicaid and school insurance, right? Because I wasn't working anymore. All of my doctors dropped me. Not one doctor, and I have a lot of specialty doctors for other health issues. All of my doctors dropped me. I had to make a deal with my daughter's pediatrician because she had been going there since she was born. They made a deal specifically to accept her Medicaid. It's insane, right? It's insanity. A friend of mine has sickle cell. My little sister died of sickle cell. Their insurance changes, and all of a sudden the doctors drop them, and you have to wait until January of the next year. I ended up in the hospital for a week because I couldn't see my neurologist anymore. And that's the first thing cut. Why? We need to have traveling nurses now. There's a nurse shortage. We have nurses who are traumatized because of all of the deaths that they had to just endure from COVID, and yet they're still having to work. right? If you don't have an extreme issue, you still have to go to work the next day because we just don't have enough help. 2 friends of mine had to leave on medical leave for their psychological trauma because they were one person working the entire floor of a COVID floor every night, and they couldn't take it after a while. And I said, why are you working alone? There is no one else to work. Other people call out. They just don't have enough help. God forbid the healthcare at schools. Sorry if a kid gets sick on a Tuesday, there's no nurse there, right? This is all intermixing. Not to mention, more budgets getting cut from housing. The budgets are getting cut everywhere, and everyone who can't afford it are suffering for it, right? We got to do something. We got to get people in there who will actually do something.
Okay, speaking from the perspective of Orange County current budget is $5.4 billion. Ma pale de budget Orange County konya se $5.4 billion. Out of that $5.4 billion in the pandemic, I'm speaking from the perspective of District 6. District 6 covers part of iDrive. District 6 is one of the richest districts in the county. With the pandemic, the tourism tax dollars, what they call TDT, brought in approximately $175 million. The sales tax in tourism brought in approximately $275 million. So that means within a pandemic, the budget, the income that was created for the $5.4 billion budget from iDrive was $375 million. With that being said, that tourism tax dollar, I understand the importance of it because our state or even our county is a tourist county. Out of that, we've helped support the Performing Arts Center, we've helped support the Convention Center, and we continue to do so. What I am saying for District 6 right now, and it's going to be a battle, District 6, you're going to have to come out and vote. Did you hear me? They'll never tell you what the budget is, and I'm telling you, fiscal responsible. Our budget in Orange County currently is $5.4 billion. We need a project in Orange County District 6. If we do not get a project in Orange County in District 6, we are not going to get our fair share of those dollars that are coming in from tourism. Second thing, remember we had this thing where we talked about, and this is on the state level, but conversations make change. So what I'm asking you for, there are initiatives that we can do for youth programs. Number one, we have confiscated police property that varies from approximately $3 million. That is the state of Florida has one of the highest confiscated property income. I would like for Orange County to say, because we control the budget for the sheriff's department. What I want to see is all confiscated property redirected to youth programs. So the last thing with the budget, the concern is education, safer communities. Remember when we voted years and years ago, we voted on the lottery. The lottery funds were supposed to go towards education. And this is why you need this bold voice from this woman, Heather Pierre Joseph. We need the lottery funds to go back to education. And I'm not on party or politics. This doesn't matter on party or politics. We passed this as a citizen initiative. So I want everyone to hear me, everyone listening, start tweeting, whatever, posting. We want the Florida lottery money to go back to education to help support our teachers and all the initiatives that I plan on doing locally. Thank you, Heather Pierre Joseph.
There is no reason why we should deal with the amount of homelessness that we are dealing with in our communities. With that being said, one of the things that I would say I would not want to cut the budget on is housing. We have to think about the domino effect of what that causes when you have a child that don't know where they're going to sleep. They go to school, they're tired, they're hungry, they're dirty. Their clothes are, disheveled, if they have clothes, okay? So we need to truly push when it comes down to increasing the budget for housing in the state of Florida. as well as we need to expand when it comes down to health care. We need to expand Medicare and Medicaid. We need to provide more options when it comes down to our choices on what we're able to do when it comes down to making the right choices for our health care. Because at the end of the day, yes, it is our choice on what we would like to do with our bodies. And then on top of that, the education. I am a huge proponent of when it comes to school choice. So there should not be a budget reduction when it comes down to education. Along with that, public schools aren't for everyone. My children, they attend private school and they are on the Step Up for Students program. Guess what? You know, my children have been excelling since being in private school. So we need to ensure that we provide options to the parents and our children when it comes to education.
I have a question, a quick question for Lisa Myers.
Yes.
I heard that a lot over the weekend in Tampa, my uterus, my body. I have one question. Why is the Democratic Party not trying to reduce the abortion rate at all? Why is that not in the platform?
It's not just about reducing the abortion, right? Let's say, for example, and I'm going to tell you a personal situation. I'm pregnant and my body is not being able to hold the pregnancy. It's causing negative effects to my health. Why should I risk my life carrying a child that my body is having a hard time carrying? We're not talking about the individuals who are using I'm not talking about individuals who's using abortion just for a form of birth control. But if there is someone where a pregnancy is causing their bodies harm, where they can risk their life, they should have the option on whether or not they should proceed forward. I don't agree with if a child is molested, you know, or out of incest, you know, they get pregnant and they're forced to have that child. I don't agree with someone who is raped and they are forced to have that child. They should have the choice on whether or not or what's the best decision for them. So let's talk about the domino effect. A mother who was raped, she's forced to have a child. Think about the negative effect or the negative attitude that she's going to have towards that child. So then here we're dealing with a child that could possibly be abused, taken away, and put into the system. Now we have a child in the system. And then it caused a domino effect of with that child being in the system to where they feel inferior or they lead to a life of crime and drugs because they're like, okay, you know, my mother gave me up or my mom abused me or whatever it may be. We need to think not about just the ones that's talking about using abortion as a form of birth control. Because, I made a mistake, I forgot to wear a condom or I forgot to take my pill. I'm not talking about those individuals. I'm not talking about the irresponsible individuals. I'm talking about the ones...
What you talk about, the ancestry rate, do you know what's the percentage of that? 1%.
How many of the women in this room...
No, wait.
I know.
No. Okay.
Hot topic. Talking about Roe versus Wade. First of all,
Yes. Hold up. That's an inject. Hold up. No. You are addressing a question. You injecting a question. Hold up. Give us a second. Relax. Hold up. You injected a question because we had a flow of people answering the direct question. You injected. That's fine. I will be, listen up. I will be happy to back her up because you were referring specifically to the Democratic Party, why they do not reduce the amount of abortion. So, is the only person that have abortion a Democrat? Why the government of the United States does not curve the poverty rate from exploded from 1974 to today? You cannot control human emotion. You cannot control human decision. We're going to let that go. Now I'm going to answer the question.
No, but I want to finish. No, I do want to finish something.
Who's protecting the child?
And that's another thing, you know, right. Yeah, because you. Let's talk about, but let's get real here. Let's talk about the statistics of who are actually having abortions.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, like we could really.
We're confusing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the. Okay, listen up.
I'm having because we didn't have a background. We didn't have because some people don't know what we.
Okay, let's stay on point. Let me finish answer. That's a female lane. That's a female bubble. Yes. 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 I'm finished. And the women can get the rest. Okay? Because I can never conceive. So that's not my lane. All right? So, we're talking about budget cut, right? I heard all my fellas talking some cuts when needed, when not needed. I will oppose everything that got cut in it if I'm elected or as I'm elected, because Florida have surplus in budget. Is one of a few states that have surplus in their budget. They have so much money, they have to get money allocated to watch the progression of the Everglades. They watch to watch the lake, how many dirt in the lakes. So you tell me, according to their own report from the lottery that's been projected to be for education, which is the money, they borrow to people build new stadiums, all that's as part of education. We need to make sure we focus the money where they need to be designated. We don't have to be talking politics about education. Because every time we say the lottery report about $3 trillion profits, if they do make $3 trillion profit, they for education, we shouldn't have anybody in Florida that have a student loan.
Right.
Debt. We shouldn't have any school that will curve a $60,000 budget because they can afford a gym or a PE teachers. We should have talking about we cannot afford teachers because our budget is on diet this week. Because look at those percentage of interest for bonuses for those CEOs or the government medium. Most people you don't know, they're not in politics. They finance both sides. They have the one that are reaping the rewards. We should never talking about budget cut. The United States government just donate $750 million to Ukraine. I'm not saying they're not part of, but come to Pine Hill, I'll show you where you can spend about $50 million. Coming with me to Washington Heights, I'll show you where you can throw another $30 million. So I am not talking about budget cut. Anybody, any bills, I will look at the camera and save that for the records. Any bills that we have, any cut, I will fight it till midnight. I will block it. I will step on it. It will never pass in front of me.
But you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
It's not about the only one. Vote count. If 5 people don't vote, they will need return to pass a vote. I tell you, I know how to make friends.
We are about to open the floor to anybody who has questions. Please make it short. After this, there's gonna be a show. You guys are welcome, especially you, so you could explain to the people about Roe versus Wade. It's a very important issue. We invite everybody to stay and have a little interview with us. Anybody want to ask a question?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm too tall. I think the chief sheriff and Osceola, David Shepard, give 3 checks that been bounced and allowed to continue. They got people in the previous time. I got a lawyer right now by Orleans College who's looking into it. Many $1 million, maybe like 10, 20,000 collected. Is it now politics? Is money that drive politics, or is just the policy? Like Surab just said about it. They got so many needs right here, and if you go to America, you see what's going on at night. People sleeping in the bushes like raccoons. I go in New York. I go to the Federal College, Dallas College in New York. I fought hard. I got 6 kids. I got 4 grandkids. I'm 63 years old. I have 1 kid that born one time. I thought he was going to have cerebral palsy, but things got, it was a febrile seizure. So he healed after 10 years old. I understand what Commissioner had did with been going to one of the kids. So if you got elected, number one, what's I had that question my radio was like I came from the job. What is the first top 3 if God when I came here right now and said, okay, I'm gonna give each of you a chance to get elected. But you're gonna start to choose it from the first to the last 3 of your best, and God will decide. I buy a page from God because if we bought it and if like we look at this image, so I looked at the chip to ask you that. What is the top 3 first priority?
We answered that question.
No, hold on. You don't say it to me. I said right now, if you get elected, what is going to be the first top 3 thing you're going to do?
I'll answer first.
And I said, again, I wish both of you best of luck. I think you have a chance at the first time, but you need to get out there more. People need to know you more. Oh, one more time. If you get elected, don't be like close action.
I'll answer it. Okay. The first top 3 would be sustainable housing. The second would be to create for small business, emerging small businesses, and also for school security. Those would be my top 3. Your top 3?
Let me hear top 3.
Oh, did you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, your top 3.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna have you just answer your top 3.
We just answered the top 3.
No, your top 3, that's not my top. I want to know your top 3.
Go ahead and answer the top 3.
My way, you should know. What is your top 3?
Ladies, my grandma always told me when there's women in the floors, just smile.
That's the first one?
So, top 3, like I said, diversity in government, immigration, and increase of the minimum wage.
Okay, that's your top 3.
Melissa Myers, my top 3 will be housing, our seniors, and career development.
Dominique Douglas, education, affordable housing, and gun reform.
Okay.
Or healthcare.
That's 4.
Okay, we are concluded.
I have a question.
We have a question. We have to
I'm sorry,
introduce
I have
one person. Let Mr. Boyd come.
I got it.
So I want to take you ladies to answer my question.
I guess my question has been dismissed.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry, your question would be, you're going to be on the radio with them. Okay?
All right, excuse me for a second. I know now we got here late. Who was running for Commissioner of Agriculture? Kandida, give me 1 second.
Give me just a minute. Just
Kandida,
just
give me
1
second.
second.
You have a chance. You have a chance to be okay? So she just got here. She's just going to introduce herself real quick. And then she's going to go the other way. Very good. Kandida, you have her. Oh, give me 1 second.
Okay.
You have to listen.
I got you. Just later.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's really an honor and a privilege for me to be here today to introduce to Orlando my candidacy for Florida Commissioner of Agriculture and Consumer Services. My name is Naomi Esther Lemire. I am a business owner. I am a small business owner. Are we live?
You like?
Can we stop and we go again?
We like?
We're live.
We are
Can
live.
we stop and go again?
No, we can't. We can't do that. We like?
I thought this was recorded.
Also, you don't know what I